Hi everyone, this is Migs from Sneaks and Ball PH and welcome to episode 13 of the Air Jordan Hunt. Today we have a quick look and unboxing on the Air Jordan 12 Dark Gray. So the Air Jordan 12 is definitely one of the more popular Air Jordan sneakers because it was right smack in the middle of Michael Jordan's second three-peat with the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan did use the Jordan 12s for the duration of the 1996 to 1997 season, and once again, like with almost every other championship year of Michael Jordan, he pretty much was on his A game. He was named to the NBA's 50 greatest players during the All-Star game in 1997, then he also was an All-Star, he made first team All-NBA, first team All-Defense, and led the league in scoring yet again. Then on top of that, he almost led the Chicago Bulls to another 70-win season and capped it all off with his 5th NBA championship, defeating MVP Karl Malone in the NBA Finals. Those 1997 NBA Finals also featured one of his most iconic moments as well as one of his most iconic sneakers when he had the flu game. In the Last Dance documentary, we found out that he really didn't suffer from the flu, but instead he had this sort of weird pizza food poisoning from pizza he had delivered the night before. Nevertheless, it still was one of his most iconic moments, and he wore the flu game Jordan 12s, which is definitely the most iconic colorway of the Air Jordan 12, along with the taxis as well as the playoff Air Jordan 12s. Then for this dark gray colorway, it actually really resembles the Flint Air Jordan 12s that released in 2004. So I'm kind of confused why Jordan Brand didn't just make the Flint Air Jordan 12s because I think that it would have been more popular that way. This particular colorway of the Air Jordan 12 didn't really sell out, which is why I was able to get it on sale. But in my opinion, it still is a very fresh pair of kicks and a very nice colorway of the Air Jordan 12. Then with that out of the way, let's get into the unboxing. The box on the Air Jordan 12 Dark Gray is your standard Air Jordan 12 box. And this is not really an OG box because even though it kind of looks similar, it doesn't have the Nike Air branding. So instead, what you have is a Jumpman here on the top, and then another Jumpman here on this side, as well as on the other side, along with your sizing and colorway information. Then here at the back, you do have some text that says quality inspired by the greatest player ever, and we have seen this on a couple of boxes throughout the series, so it's nothing new. Then the last detail on the box, you do have a little bit of Jordan text here on the front of the lid. Now time to open these up. So it does have the standard style lid, and you do have some brown paper. It's pretty plain, and I really like the Air Jordan 12s. It kind of really doesn't matter what colorway it is. But here you have it. This is the Air Jordan 12 Dark Gray. So just taking the shoes out, here you have your left shoe. And then putting this aside. And over here you have your right shoe. And as you can see, it's very clean. It's just very simple white and gray. And then just putting back the lid. And here you have it. This is the Air Jordan 12 Dark Gray. Then just a few quick tech specs on the Air Jordan 12. For the outsole and traction, you do have herringbone here in pods in the forefoot as well as the heel. The rubber here on the herringbone traction pattern is nice and grippy, and most of the time you can't go wrong with herringbone because once you have the rubber down pat, it pretty much is good to go. Then in the middle of the outsole, it is cored out quite a bit, so you can kind of see the carbon fiber midfoot shank. The carbon fiber plate actually does go all the way to the tip of the toe, which is kind of why the Air Jordan 12s do seem a bit stiff at first, but given some break-in time, it does feel a lot more fluid and a lot more playable. Then for the cushion on the Air Jordan 12s, this was actually the first time that Zoom Air was used in any Air Jordan sneaker, and they really did go all out with it. You do have a full-length file on midsole and the full-length zoom unit. The full-length zoom unit is super duper comfortable, and to this day, I think that this is the most comfortable cushion setup on any Air Jordan. Sure, it's not quite as bouncy and responsive as some of the latest Air Jordans with the whole unlocked zoom setup, but you know, it is pretty comfortable, and for a shoe that came out so long ago, that's really impressive. Then for the materials, you have a pretty much all leather upper. So you have this tumbled leather all throughout, and then you have this sort of pebbled leather here on this rand on the lateral side and here on the medial side. You also have that same tumbled leather here on the tongue, and then you have a really soft neoprene lining inside. Then lastly, you have a little bit of nylon here on the pull tab on the back, and then you have a little bit of plastic here on the top two eyelets. The leather upper on this colorway of the Air Jordan 12 is just super soft, and it really moves well with your foot. They also use pretty thick cuts of leather, so it really does feel a little bit more premium than some other Air Jordan releases. In my opinion, since most Air Jordans fall under the same sort of price range, they should all have materials like this. Kinda is disappointing that, Jordan brand can't seem to give us materials this good on every single shoe, which they should. Then for fit and sizing, I did go true to size with the Air Jordan 12s, and it fit me pretty well. It really gives my foot a nice one-to-one fit because of the no-nonsense lacing system, as well as the really soft materials that conform well with your foot. However, there are some people that find that the Air Jordan 12s run a little bit long, so in my opinion, you can also go down half a size, especially if you have a narrower foot. However, if you do have wider feet, you can go true to size, because I think that since the leather is really nice and soft, it can conform well with your foot as well. Then for the aesthetic details on the shoe, on the outsole you do have those white herringbone pads, and then you have a little bit of red here with the Jumpman on the toe, as well as this little number 23. Then you also have that iconic carbon fiber plate, which has its own distinct look. And then surrounding the white herringbone pads, you do have this gray rubber, and you also have gray here on the phylon here on the forefoot, but the phylon at the back is in white. Then right above the midsole, you do have this shiny silver plastic piece that has Jumpman text. Then here at the back of the shoe, you have a red number 23. Then here on the nylon pull tab, you have a Jumpman with a red background. You also have a little bit of text that reads Jordan, quality inspired by the greatest player ever. Then here on the tongue, you have a red Jumpman. Then you also have the number 2 that's spelled out, as well as a number 3. Then here on the eyelets, you do have 2 little Jumpmans, and you also have a Jumpman here on the insole. Then for the overall aesthetics, I'm really a fan of the Air Jordan 12s. It does look a little bit more boot-like compared to the Air Jordan 11 and Air Jordan 13, but I still dig it a lot. However, if there's one thing I can nitpick about this particular colorway, it's the stitching. Because normally Air Jordan 12s really do have that stitching because it's part of the whole sort of sunray design. But with this particular colorway, I think they did too much with the stitching. So it is kind of double stitched, which is kind of overkill in my opinion, because I think that they could have just stitched it in one time. That's also what they usually do with most of the other colorways of the Jordan 12s. So I don't know why they decided to do that with this colorway. But other than that, I really have nothing bad to say about this colorway because I really love the color blocking of the Air Jordan 12s in general, and this is no different. I'm really loving the white leather as well as the white here on the phylon on the heel. And with the gray, it is a very nice shade of gray. It's not too light and it's not too dark. It's just right for me. I also really love the textures on the shoe, so you do have that tumbled white leather. And then you have pebbled leather rands here on the lateral and medial side. The gray part of the phylon midsole also has that pebbled look, and I really think that that was a good move. You also have little hits of red all throughout the shoe, so you have it on the 2-3 as well as the Jumpman. And then you also have it in the 23 at the back as well as this patch on the nylon. Then for the price on the Air Jordan 12s, it retailed for 9,445 pesos or $190 US. This is pretty much the standard for Air Jordan Retros, but in terms of this shoe in particular, I think that you really get your money's worth. You get really good tech in this sneaker, which is kind of surprising because this did release in 1996, but you do have that trusty herringbone traction pattern as well as a full-length phylon midsole with a full-length zoom unit, and that zoom unit is super duper comfortable up to this day. You also have really thick and soft cuts of leather, and that really feels good underfoot, and it really gives you a little bit more of a premium touch. I also was able to get this on sale because, like I said, these didn't really sell out, so I bought these over at Titan in Vertis North, and it was pretty much priced at around 6,000 pesos, and I think they still have a few sizes of these. However, if you're not able to grab a pair of these are also available on the resale market, and the price on these isn't that bad either. Then in my opinion, this shoe is actually really worth it at 9,445 pesos. So being that I got it at around 6,000 pesos, this is actually such a steal. I just really love how the Air Jordan 12 looks and how the Air Jordan 12 feels. It is definitely one of the most comfortable Air Jordan sneakers to date, and I really love this shoe. I know I haven't performance tested all of the Air Jordans yet, but this particular shoe seems like it's gonna be a frontrunner for the best shoe of the whole lot. So there you have it guys, that was episode 13 of the Air Jordan Hunt, featuring the Air Jordan 12 Dark Gray. If you liked the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for any future videos, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then also please sound off in the comment section down below if you've ever played or if you still play in a pair of Air Jordan 12s and how you find the experience. Then if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. It would help us out a lot. Here's Sneaks and Ball, PH.